Me and you are like this today. Oh my, it's definitely, you'd have to take avocados.
Yeah.
If you guys could bring back one thing from the UK back with you to the States, what would it be?
Yeah, my boyfriend. I would just take him with me.
It was one word, a single correction in a sea of interviews, but it was the one that finally unraveled years of carefully guarded secrets. For what felt like an eternity, Tom Holland and Zendaya existed within a fortress of privacy, their every move scrutinized by millions of hopeful fans and hungry tabloids. They were a global obsession built on whispers and stolen glances. But then it happened. In a moment so casual you could have missed it, a reporter referred to Zendaya as Tom's girlfriend. Without missing a beat, Tom leaned into the microphone with a slight, knowing laugh and gently corrected him. Fiancé? The word hung in the air, instantly changing everything. This wasn't some clumsy slip of the tongue. It was a quiet, deliberate detonation. The world's most elusive couple was finally pulling back the curtain. But the story of how they reached this point is a Hollywood epic, filled with chilling warnings, secret battles, and a relentless fight for a privacy that was almost stolen from them completely. Their story truly begins not with a spark, but with a warning, a chilling prophecy delivered from the highest levels of Hollywood. Before they ever stepped onto the set as Peter Parker and MJ, Spider-Man producer Amy Pascal, a woman who had seen it all, pulled both young stars aside for two separate, private lectures. Her message was stark, a desperate plea born from experience. Don't go there. She wasn't just offering friendly advice. She was trying to stop history from repeating its destructive cycle. The Spider-Man curse, as it was known, was real. Pascal had watched Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst's on-screen magic transform into a real-life romance, only for their subsequent breakup to cast a long, awkward shadow over the entire franchise. She had then given the exact same warning to Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, who ignored it and became one of the most beloved couples in the world, until their split became a painful, public spectacle. Pascal saw the undeniable chemistry between Tom and Zendaya and feared the inevitable fallout. A real-life romance could poison the on-set atmosphere, complicate billion-dollar press tours, and ultimately break two young hearts under the harshest spotlight imaginable. They were standing on a cliff's edge, and she was begging them not to jump. For the next 4 years, they heeded her warning, at least publicly. They became masters of deflection, orchestrating a best friends narrative so flawlessly that it was almost believable. On every press tour, in every interview, they played their parts to perfection. The dating rumors followed them like a shadow, and they danced around them with the skill of seasoned performers. Their social media became a weapon of misdirection. When a fan tweet suggested they had taken a secret vacation together, Zendaya's reply was swift and sharp. Wait, my favorite is when it says we go on vacations together. How? I haven't been on a vacation in years. To be you a Tom Holland 996? Tom's response was just as playful. Does the press tour count? They were a united front of denial. Zendaya would repeatedly call him literally one of my best friends, while Tom would gush about how she helped him navigate the dizzying maze of fame. Yet, for anyone paying attention, their chemistry was a raging fire they were trying to hide behind a paper-thin wall of platonic friendship. The shared glances, the inside jokes, the way they instinctively leaned toward each other in crowded rooms, it all told a different story. They were hiding in plain sight, writing a love story in invisible ink, and the whole world was desperately trying to read between the lines. But the plot was about to thicken. Because to make their just friends act even more convincing, there were other people. During these years of strategic denial, both Tom and Zendaya were publicly linked to other stars, creating a thick smokescreen that kept the public completely off balance. In 2019, Zendaya was frequently photographed with her Euphoria co-star, Jacob Elordi. They were seen laughing on the streets of New York, vacationing together in Greece. It looked like the real deal. At the same time, Tom Holland made his own relationship with actress Nadia Parks official in 2020, posting a photo of her on his Instagram and shocking his millions of followers. For the legion of tomdaya fans, it was a period of profound confusion and heartbreak. Had they imagined the whole thing? Was that undeniable chemistry just brilliant acting? This calculated distance, whether intentional or not, served as the perfect cover. It allowed their fiercely private connection to deepen and grow, far away from the prying eyes and relentless pressure of the public. They were building a foundation where no one could see it, waiting for the right moment. But that moment wouldn't be their choice. The wrecking ball that, shattered their fortress of privacy, arrived on a sweltering Los Angeles day in July 2021. It wasn't a planned announcement or a glamorous red carpet debut. It was a moment of mundane intimacy, stolen and sold to the highest bidder. Stopped at a red light in the Silver Lake neighborhood, a paparazzi photographer aimed a long lens and captured the shot heard round the world. Tom and Zendaya, inside his Audi R8, laughing and sharing an unmistakable kiss. The photos hit the internet like a tidal wave. Within minutes, tomdaya was the #1 trend globally. The single grainy image was undeniable proof, erasing years of carefully crafted denials in a single brutal flash. Their cover was blown. The privacy they had fought tooth and nail to protect was incinerated in the click of a camera. They were no longer just co-stars or rumored flames. They were a confirmed item, outed to the world against their will. The game had changed, and they were forced to play on a board they didn't choose. The fallout was immediate and deeply painful. This wasn't the joyful confirmation fans had hoped for. It was a public violation. In a later, soul-bearing interview with GQ, Tom Holland didn't hide his anger and hurt. He described the feeling of being robbed of our privacy, emphasizing that the issue was never about being secretive, but about wanting to define their own story. One of the downsides of our fame is that privacy isn't really in our control anymore, he explained, and a moment that you think is between two people that love each other very much is now a moment that is shared with the entire world. Zendaya echoed the sentiment, calling the experience quite strange and weird and confusing and invasive. They had been treated like characters, not people. Their real-life love story turned into public entertainment. The immense pressure could have easily shattered them. Instead, it forced them to make a choice: retreat and hide, or find a way to face the storm together. This forced outing became the ultimate test of their bond, pushing them to decide if what they had was strong enough to survive in the blinding glare of the global spotlight. While the world was obsessing over their relationship status, Tom Holland was fighting a silent, private war that no one could see. In a moment of raw vulnerability on a podcast, he revealed a deeply personal struggle with alcohol. He recounted how, after a particularly heavy-drinking Christmas season, he decided to attempt dry January as a personal challenge. What he discovered shook him to his core. "All I could think about was having a drink," he confessed, the honesty in his voice palpable. "I was waking up thinking about it. I was checking the clock. When's it 12 p.m.? It just really scared me." He came to the terrifying realization that he might have a serious problem, that he felt enslaved to alcohol, unable to socialize, attend events, or unwind without it. This internal battle was raging behind the scenes, during the absolute peak of his Spider-Man fame, and at the very moment his relationship with Zendaya was being thrust into the public eye. The decision to get sober was more than a lifestyle change. It was a life-altering commitment to reclaim his own identity and build a future on a foundation of clarity and strength. Not just for himself, but for the person he loved. The immense weight of this personal journey, combined with the psychological toll of his work, led Tom to make a decision that stunned Hollywood. After wrapping his role in the dark and emotionally punishing series The Crowded Room, he announced he was taking a year-long hiatus from acting. The character he played, Danny Sullivan, was so complex and traumatic that Tom admitted, "I was seeing myself in him, but in my personal life. He was breaking down, and he knew he needed to step away to heal." This wasn't a vacation. It was an act of self-preservation. This crucial year off became a period of rediscovery. He focused on his sobriety, his mental health, and the simple joys of life away from a film set, playing golf, spending time with family, and strengthening his relationship with Zendaya. This quiet period was perhaps the most important in their story. Away from the flashing cameras and relentless schedules, they were just Tom and Zendaya. They navigated his profound personal changes together, proving that their connection wasn't a fragile Hollywood romance, but a resilient, real-life partnership capable of weathering the deepest storms. As they began to emerge from this private chrysalis, the public's obsession reignited, this time focused on a single, burning question: were they engaged? The whispers started subtly, as they always do. Eagle-eyed fans noticed Zendaya wearing a simple gold signet ring engraved with the initials TH, a quiet but powerful symbol of their bond. But the whispers turned into a roar in January 2025. At the Golden Globes, Zendaya walked the red carpet radiating confidence, but it was the colossal diamond ring on her left hand that stole the show. It was an impossible to miss statement piece, a supernova of a diamond that sent the internet into a complete and utter meltdown. Was this the announcement? When a reporter on the red carpet dared to ask if she was engaged, Zendaya simply offered a masterful, coy smile and a slight shrug, a perfectly executed non-answer that only added gallons of fuel to the speculative fire. The world was desperate for a confirmation, but the truth, as it had always been with them, was happening quietly, behind closed doors. While the world was analyzing red carpet photos, a beautiful secret had already been sealed. It was later revealed, through sources close to the couple and even hinted at by Tom's own father, that the proposal had been as intimate and personal as their entire relationship. Tom, a romantic at heart, had planned it all. He purchased the ring months in advance and, in a gesture of profound respect, had a private conversation with Zendaya's father to ask for his blessing. The proposal itself, which took place sometime between Christmas and New Year's 2024, was the antithesis of their public life. No cameras, no audience, just a quiet, heartfelt moment for the two of them. The spectacular ring that Zendaya wore at the Golden Globes wasn't a publicity stunt or a cryptic clue. It was the joyful aftermath, a symbol of a promise that had already been made in the sanctity of their private world. They had once again outsmarted the public, choosing to share their joy on their own terms, in their own time. And that brings us back to the beginning, to that one history-making word. When Tom Holland looked at that reporter and corrected girlfriend to fiancé, it was the final, triumphant piece of their story falling into place. It wasn't a slip-up. It wasn't an accident. It was a calm, confident, and deliberate choice. After years spent dodging, deflecting, and desperately guarding their relationship from the voracious appetite of public opinion, they were finally ready. The quiet assurance in his voice was a testament to the journey they had endured. They were no longer afraid of the curse, the pressure, or the scrutiny. They had faced the relentless invasion of their privacy, navigated deep personal battles, and built an unbreakable bond in the shadows. Now they were stepping into the light together. From a forbidden on-set romance to a globally celebrated engagement, Tom Holland and Zendaya have rewritten the rules for love in the modern age of celebrity. They defied the Spider-Man curse, conquered the suffocating nature of fame, and supported each other through life's darkest challenges, all while building a love story that felt authentic and true. As they now look toward a future that includes planning a wedding while juggling two of the most demanding careers on the planet, they stand not just as Hollywood's biggest power couple, but as a symbol of resilience. The ultimate question is no longer if they can survive the spotlight, but how they will continue to redefine it, proving to the world that even in the brightest, most unforgiving glare, true love can always find a way to build a private, beautiful world all its own.